Jesus didn't come to begin a religion. He came to end it. And this is one of the things that has made many religious preachers, religious brothers and sisters to lose the essence of the matter. And that is why most of the time you get to hear the kind of messages are being preached. They lose the dignity to reveal Christ's love for humanity, to reveal God's intention in Christ Jesus towards humanity. So it is important to come to a place of getting the knowledge, to know the requirements, to know the ideal truth of how things should be, and whatever should be presented so that people can be delivered. Like I always say, deliverance is not prayed, deliverance is taught. So in the place of teaching is where people get delivered. In the place of learning is where people get delivered. I know there will be an argument that Jesus himself delivered people from diseases. He delivered people from demons and all that. I want to make it clear to you. Whatever Jesus did, he rebuked the demons. And in that particular moment, there was a wholeness that came upon these people. Real deliverance happens when people are taught, when people get to grasp the truth without any issue, and they walk in that truth and they focus deeply in that truth, so that there will be an establishment of a greater purpose within them. So we have to know that Jesus did not come to begin a religion. He came to end it. So the religious preachers that we have today, what do? The kind of message they present to us is a message that focuses on material possessions. It is a message that tries to elevate the preacher, the man of God, and it makes the one who is supposed to be above all to look as if he's just a product. And that is why in many ministries, in religious institutions, Jesus is a product. If they do not preach Jesus and they don't market him, then their business is not going to do well. So it is important to understand that what the very Bible teaches and it tells us. When we get into the book of Isaiah chapter 61, we can see something that is so beautiful. I think I'm going to look at it so that we get to establish something here. Isaiah 61. I look at that very chapter and I say for sure there's something that many people are not even trying to receive. Isaiah 61. Bear with me. There we go. Beautiful. Jesus is speaking about something that is so beautiful, and he opened this book and he read only one verse. The question is, why didn't he read the other verses? Let us take a look at verse 1 of Isaiah chapter 61. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord has anointed and commissioned me to bring good news to the humble and afflicted. He has sent me to bind up the wounds of the brokenhearted, to proclaim release from confinement and condemnation to the physical and spiritual captives, and freedom to prisoners. Remember, after Jesus read this very first verse, he never went to verse 2. Why? Because verse 2 going downwards speaks of a different kind of message, and Jesus did not come to preach that kind of message. He did not come to bring condemnation. He did not come to introduce another religion, but he came to reveal the identity of God. Because from the law we can see how God was presented, how the people from old introduced God into our very existence. And that is why, based on religion, we feel like when we mess up, God is going to destroy us. But the reality is, God has no intention to destroy anyone. I was in a Bible study some time back, and I was sharing concerning the love of God. And I said that the grace of God, even in the Old Testament, was present but in types and in shadows. But these people were not willing to get to listen to what I was speaking about because of religious beliefs and standards that are not aligning with the evidences of what Christ was presenting into the world. Many preachers will not speak as I'm speaking because for them, the gospel of Christ is business. The gospel of Christ is work. In fact, it's not a work, it is a job for them. And they benefit when they keep on promising people. Whatever the law was speaking about, we can see the promises, we can see the prophecies, we can see all those things that were being spoken. And in the Old Testament, nothing was fulfilled. So whatever Jesus came to do was to basically revolutionize the minds of humanity, so that we can be able to get into the place of understanding the intentions of God without focusing on what religion teaches us, because religion has certain protocols, designs on how to approach God. And that is why in this particular moment, I think I'm not in confusion, because I came to a place of understanding that whatever we've been doing for a long time in churches, in quotes basically, in churches, in mosques, in every other place, we are just doing all those things to fulfill or satisfy our desires, thinking that when we do those things, we are drawing close to God. Remember, God is not a religious man, and Jesus has never been a religious man. And because of certain cultures and traditions back in the day, people today tend to think that the way you dress is how you're going to please God. Certain religions, that is what they preach. Certain religions, that is what they present to us. And that is what many people don't get it right, because they tend to think that the way you dress, you're going to please God through that. But we have to get to see the identity of God. Like I always say, if God was mad at us, if God was so mad at us, he could have proved it in Christ Jesus. He could have revealed it in Christ Jesus. But we can see a certain religion that wants to live based on the law. When you do something wrong, they tend to think that it is proper for you to be unalived. When you leave that religion, they tend to speak and say, this one has to be unalived. Because for them, religion benefits them. It makes them feel like they're drawing close to God. But look at what Jesus is saying in Isaiah 61. When you open that book and you see that when you get into the New Testament, you get to see what Jesus was proclaiming concerning Isaiah 61. He said, that which was spoken now has come. This is the one. It has been manifested. It has been revealed. And that is why I keep on telling people, remember, John the Baptist is the one who baptized Jesus. But this man, at this particular moment, he came to a place of confusion and doubt when he was taken to prison. He sent people to ask Jesus if truly he was the one. And remember, he's still the same guy who prophesied and spoke that there's one who is coming. And he himself evidently proclaimed that this is the one by baptizing him. In fact, at some point he refused because he was like, no. And this is the point that I want to bring to our attention. That John the Baptist himself was full of doubt. And he sent these people to Jesus to ask him if he's the one. And Jesus proclaimed and told these people, go back and tell him that the blind can see, that the lame can walk, that the deaf can hear. Or basically, the deaf can hear. What I want to say is, the reason why Jesus didn't go to rescue John the Baptist, it's because of divine purpose. God himself did not want a certain or a religion to begin at this point, because people could have begun worshiping John the Baptist. And we can see even today, people are worshiping, ideally people are trying to portray that John the Baptist is greater. And that is what they do. That